Bienvenidos amigos, we are at the Hospitales Puerta de Herrera again. This is my 5th time here. Today we did a quick lab, let's see, got some lab work done and checked on my lining size. It needs to be over 8, it was at 9, so we're good to go there. In the past, what has stopped me in my tracks pretty much every time is progesterone being incorrect. Progesterone is a way to determine where you are in your embryo transfer cycle. So if it's too high, the way the doctor explains it to me is that it means that your body is making, it's just about timing, right? A woman's progesterone increases as her cycle moves forward. So what you want is your progesterone to match the correct timing. And in the past, my progesterone has been too high, and that is, the doctor said it would be like feeding your baby steak. There's nothing wrong with the progesterone levels. It's just that my embryo has 5 days of maturation. It's a 5-day embryo. And so you want your body to match what it would be for a 5-day embryo. And if your body is producing something that is, on a 5-day embryo eats baby food, a 7-day embryo eats steak, like, for example, right? So you don't want to be too far along, making too much progesterone for your body. And that is what's happened to me 2 or 3 times now. I've gotten down here, we've got to this point where my lining size is correct. I've been taking estrogen like a mad woman, and they do my test results and they are like, oh, we're too far along. Look right at the line and you can decide whether or not you want to transfer or not. And usually I go home and think about it and I decide to cancel my procedure because I want to give this embryo every chance it can to survive, and even if it's off just a little, I don't want that. So I would rather it be off. I'd rather they call it off before they put it in than it be wrong after they put it in, and then I have to go through the process of loss or miscarriage or not sticking. So here's to hoping my labs come back good. I actually did an extra lab this time. Usually what would happen is I'd prepare my embryo, I'd prepare my body for transfer, and then I'd take a test in the United States on cycle day 2. That's the 2nd day after my period, and I would make sure that my progesterone is under 1 and my estrogen is correct. And then I would come up here, I'd start taking estrogen. Usually 3 times a day I'd take the estradiol pills, and then I'd get up here and then I'd have my appointment on day 7 or 8. The doctor likes to see you on day 8. And then we'd test my progesterone again, and that would be the next test. And then we'd decide where to go from there. But this time I was worried that we weren't getting our timing correct, so I did an extra test. I did a test on cycle day 8, and then we're on cycle day 12 now. So I did a test on both those days. The lab cost for that here is in efectivo. That means it has to be paid in cash, so I have to withdraw it. And it's anywhere between $70 and $90 US. It's not cheap to get blood drawn here. Of course, in the States, it's about $250 without insurance. So, it is cheap comparatively. And then I did an extra appointment. Usually your appointments are included. All appointments are included in the transfer, but I've been wanting to be diligent. I don't mind. I'll pay some extra if I can keep this from being canceled. So I did an appointment today. It probably wasn't necessary. An extra lining check that was $69 US, which is a bargain. I mean, if you go see your doctor in the States and you don't have insurance, you're paying way more than $70. So, and I will say that if you're doing these things and your doctor says that these appointments are included, make sure that when you go to the front desk, you advocate for yourself and you say that it's included. If not, you will get charged. They will charge you. There is some miscommunication between the doctor and the front desk. I mean, they're just willing to take your money if you'll give it to them. And I have been charged for many appointments that I didn't need to be charged for. So make sure you advocate for yourself and tell them it is included. If it indeed it is. So that's where we're at today. We have a embryo transfer scheduled for Monday. That's a week from today. So we'll update you then. I just want to make a quick point here. This is my 5th time here. So far, I have done 2 IVF procedures where I have tried to collect eggs. 1 donor egg cycle where I have got eggs from a donor. 1 sperm picking situation appointment where I picked my sperm donor, created the embryos, and we had those baked and frozen so that I could, because my cycle was again off, my cycle timing was off, so we had those frozen so I could come back. And then I've had, I think, 2 or maybe 3 cycles canceled due to my lab work being off, my timing being incorrect. So I want to make a point that it is very important for you when you pick your location. I did not know that I would be coming back to Mexico 5 or 6 or 10 or how many ever times you're going to have to come back. You know, in my head, I guess I thought this was going to work on the first try, which was an insane thought. But I think we all have that thought when we first start out. So it does not always work on the first try, and lots of times it takes more than 1 or 2 tries to even get to the point of transfer. So just make sure that when you create your embryos and bank them, you are aware that you're going to probably have to come back several times. So for me, I created and banked my embryos here in Guadalajara, Mexico, and I've been back 5 times. I love this place, but it is very taxing and very tiring. It's like $250 to $300 every time I fly over here, another $250 to $300 every time I fly back, and it's about $2,500 for the embryo transfer, and then the lab work, like I said, it's about $100 a pop every time you get lab work done. So just keep that in mind. It is much cheaper than it is in the States, but it will add up. And we were originally going to do our IVF in Barbados, but it happened during the time of COVID, so it just didn't work out. They had a lot of hoops you had to jump through during COVID, and Mexico did not. So we ended up here, and I thank God that we did, because, you know, I would have rather come back to Mexico 5 times than Barbados. So wherever you're banking, make sure, or wherever you're going, I know you can't see into the future. You're not going to know how many times you're going to have to go back. You don't know, but just go ahead and assume that you're going to have to come back several times, and wherever your eggs are banked is where they're going to stay, and that's wherever you're going to have to return to. And also, I see a lot of women on these, like, getting pregnant over 40, or IVF in another country, or all the groups on Facebook. I see a lot of them say, this is my third clinic, or, you know, like, I'm switching doctors. For me, I just don't think that's a great idea. First of all, I trust and love my doctor. I think he's here for me, and he's doing his best, and I think he's very intelligent. He does this all the time. I think he knows what he's doing. I trust his decision-making process. I believe he's in it for the right reasons. I don't think he's trying to get my money or get over on me for any reason whatsoever. Oh, ran out of space, guys. Okay, so I guess what I was saying is I think your doctor learns about your body and what works for you every time you see him, every time you try something else. And I think it's important to try to stay with your doctor if you can. I mean, I definitely understand that if you go to a clinic and you don't feel like you are advocated for, you don't believe in the same thing the doctor does, like, I get that. But do know that as the time progresses, the doctor learns more about your body, and I think that's very important to note. Anyway, we're going to be back next week to do the transfer, and wish me luck, you guys. Send me all that magic fertility baby dust and all your prayers, thoughts, rain dances, spells, good vibes, whatever you got, send it this way, because I need it. I'm here by myself without Drew. This is my first time doing it by myself, and I'm pretty impressed with what I've accomplished so far. I think without him, it's been more of a concentration on me and my body and what I need than what he is interested in, which is seeing the sights and going on vacation. So for me, I think this is gonna work out a little better. I believe this is gonna be the time. Now he wants me to decide whether or not to put in two embryos or one. I have to go home and do some research on that, because he did say that 2 embryos could be detrimental. He does not recommend it, because if one detaches, it could cause the other to detach. But ultimately, as he has said the whole time, it is up to me. And he has said the whole time, every time he has presented me with a choice, I say I'll do my research, and he says, I know you will, because I always do my research, and he lets me do basically whatever I want, within reason. And I really appreciate about this doctor, because you know, he has the knowledge, but you got to do at the end of the day what you got to do to feel comfortable with the choices that you made. And I don't want to be sitting around thinking, oh, you know, I could have done 2 embryo transfers and that might have worked, or I should have done 1. You know, it's ultimately up to me. I don't want to think, you know, oh, my doctor made me do this and now I regret it. So I love that he leaves those choices up to me. So I'm gonna go home and do some research. Let me know down in the comments if you have had experience with double egg transfer. Last time I only did 1. It ended in miscarriage at 11 weeks. So we definitely don't want that again. So I got to make that decision, but I will go home and do research, and ultimately I will make that decision for myself. Thank you guys for watching. Check out all my other videos by searching on my channel for IVF in Mexico. We have a playlist. And thanks for watching, and buen dia.